Hi everyone, this is Matt Heinrich with Affiliated Control Equipment, and I'm going to try to upload weekly videos about questions that we get into our customer service that make their way to me as the pneumatic applications engineer. Just about simple questions that maybe the answers to could help other people. And this week's question was about swapping the gauge on an MS series regulator from Festo. You'll see here, this is kind of the standard gauge that comes with Regulator. It's got PSI and bars, the major and minor scales, but you do have options for a digital pressure switch, or in this case, a customer wanted to put on a threaded port to the front of it. We do make an option where you can swap out the gauge and put on either a G1/8 or G1/4 thread. You could then take your own gauge or your own digital pressure switch and thread it into that port. So first I'm going to start by removing the cover plate on this. You can see here there's just a couple little tabs on both sides, and if I take my screwdriver here and just press up against them on the side there, you pop off the cover plate. That then exposes the two screws that are holding on the existing gauge. The clear plastic just pops right off. And if you use, let's see, it's a Torx 8mm. To get those off, unscrew those. Part of the customer's misconception too was we shipped them some parts to do this swap, and they were concerned about the size of the pneumatic port inside that feeds air to the gauge. So you can see the back of the gauge, there's just a little stem on there that mates up with that tiny hole. It's only a couple millimeters wide, and the customer's concerned that that wasn't big enough to feed pressure through for their new gauge to read properly. That's all you need. It's just a gauge, right? So you don't need heavy flow for a component like that. You just need enough for the accurate pressure to get through. That is enough. There's a little seal in there, so if you were to swap on something new, it probably comes with its own seal. Make sure you don't double the seals up. Just make sure the stem lines up there, and then you can swap on a new gauge. Another important thing to point out is if you buy pneumatic components, again, MS series, that come with a blank cover plate, like this filter, right? Filters don't typically get gauges on them. You can put gauges on them. And this one I'd already loosened the plate, so plate comes off. Same pattern for the holes, but what you might be able to see there is no hole bore through for pressure to make it from the internals of this device to a gauge or anything else you might put on the front there, a digital pressure switch. You can turn this into a model that has a gauge, right? What you would do in that case is physically drill a hole through. You'd avoid any warranty you have at that point, but if you, in a pinch, you really need to add that functionality to something from the MS series, whether it be a filter, a branching module, a regulator that came with a blank plate on there versus having a gauge, you can do that. What I would recommend doing in that case is plugging the one port on the side here, feeding just a little bit of pressure into the opposite end, and then slowly, just kind of piece by piece at a time, drilling into the correct hole. And again, you can look at the gauge that you're putting on there, line it up with where it's going to go, and determine which of those holes it has to line up with. Making sure that you don't go too big on that either. You don't want to bore out the entire thing because you do need that seal that I showed you earlier to mate up with it. But that's bit by bit, drill out. Important to put a little bit of pressure on there so that as you're drilling, whenever you do burst through, the pressure will push any ingress out. Not too much pressure. You don't want it blasting in your face or blowing any debris at you. Probably best to wear safety glasses while you're doing that, but you can create the pass-through for pressure in this case. So if you ever need help doing any of this maintenance, Festo has really nice guys online, or you can contact us at Affiliated Control Equipment, and we'd be happy to help.